And welcome to the YO Today newsroom. Austin Beck-Doss here, features reporter. I have the privilege today of being joined by Diana Olson, the office manager and education coordinator with the Popo Agie Conservation District. Thanks so much for being with us today, Diana.
Well, you're very welcome. Thanks for spending time with me.
Yeah. Excited to learn more about an event that folks in Lander and Fremont County have come to anticipate in this spring-summer season, to get excited about spending some time outside and in the garden, and that is the Garden Expo coming up on April 18th. That's Saturday. It's 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Lander Valley High School.
Yes, that's exactly right. I was just tapping away on my calculator right here thinking, how many years have we done this? It's 14 years now.
Wow, yeah.
And so, the community actually is quite, well, I think the community is quite familiar with this. And yet, there are people that have never heard of it, never been. And then they come and they're like, oh my, isn't this something? So I'd like to explain just that 30,000 foot view of what is the Garden Expo. And for us, it's so important that people know that it's free and it's family friendly. And then I go into the notion of the big picture is there's a big trade show and then also these educational workshops. And we debate whether, do people mostly come for the trade show because it's amazing, or do they mostly come for the educational workshops because there's people that are just in them all day long. They love them so much. And we are still split on what the big draw is. But that's what you can come, to expect. And then, my goodness, we throw in the extra attractions of the kids' activities, which are randomly placed around the trade show and beyond. And Justice Jacobs with State Farm pretty much every year has been able to bring his horse-drawn wagon and gives rides, but it's always weather permitting.
Sure.
And then the petting zoo with the barnyard animals are just so fun to interact with. And then you've got concessions. So there's just a lot of things that people might feel drawn and, a reason to come. And you can just spend all day there because there's food.
Yeah. Well, very cool. It's neat to have so many different attractions for all ages, different members of the family. It certainly is an event that kids and adults can both enjoy and learn something and have a good time. So on that Saturday morning, April 18th, be sure to bring everyone, friends and family, and head over to Lander Valley High School for this year's Garden Expo. But I did want to ask about a couple of the details ahead of this year's event. I was just looking at the workshop lineup and some very intriguing looking events and classes and workshops on the schedule. For myself as a gardener, I'm certainly picking out a few that I plan to attend, but are there any for you that you're especially excited about this year, Diana?
Well, one thing about our Garden Expo is that it's more than just gardening. And we've got our three main themes. One is gardening. One is that backyard living and just embellishing your little happy place in your backyard. And then the other is outdoor recreation. And the talk this year is outdoor recreation, be prepared, manage risk, and stay comfortable. And I am quite intrigued by that. I would like to know all those things.
Yeah.
Because I like to go outdoors and recreate. And boy, the more prepared I can be and to understand what the risks are and stay comfortable, sign me up.
Yeah, that one does look neat. I know that'll be with Sarah Martin, who is a Knowles employee, so a lot of credibility there as far as preparation and risk management in the outdoors.
I'm really looking forward to the gardening with children because, relatively speaking, I'm kind of a new grandmother. My kiddos are about to turn 1 and 3. And so I'm like, I need to know more about gardening with children. And then that brings in our keynote speakers, Dr. Dick Woodward and his wife, Dr. Jean Williams Woodward. And I am just so impressed to read their bios and all of their experience and their education. I'm really looking forward to that. And our keynote speaker is, or excuse me, the keynote talk is What's Wrong with My Plants? Plant Diagnostics 101. And from what I can understand, what they're going to talk about is kind of that notion of when you see your plant is ailing, most of us go, so what's wrong, little buddy? Or is it too much water? Is it not enough? Is it nutrients? Is it insects? Is it placement? And that's what I expect that they're going to kind of cover is how to diagnose and narrow down what could be some problems. And then what do you do about it?
Yeah, that sounds quite useful for plant owners and gardeners. I know I'm someone who, when I see a yellowing plant or a sign of distress, sometimes the internet isn't the most helpful because it's quite difficult to narrow down what's going on. So to have, Doctors Jean Williams Woodward and Dick Woodward there to be a little bit more specific and to kind of teach some of the nuance there, I think will be super helpful for folks.
I just perceive that anyone that is a PhD and can talk about gardening with children, I want to meet these people,
Yeah, that's a good resume right there.
Probably the other thing that we're just pretty darn excited about is we're just going to try something new this year, and that's kind of this workshop number 3 choice. So that's a 2.5-hour hands-on deep dive into home fermentation. We've never done anything like this, so it's super new, and we're hoping to get the word out there that it is so different in that it's a lengthy class. It's a hands-on class. You're required to pre-register and pay in advance. And those folks that participate are going to take home 2 ferments that they made.
Cool.
And 2 fermentation kits, whatever that is. So you can go to popoagie.org and you get to the Garden Expo website, that our page on our website, I should say. And that's where you can engage. There's a form to fill out. And it explains there that then you would need to come to our office to actually pay. And so it's one thing to show your intention to come, but your spot will be guaranteed once you pay.
Nice. And once again, if you're just joining us, I am here with Diana Olson, the office manager and education coordinator with the Popo Agie Conservation District. We're talking about the upcoming Garden Expo on Saturday, April 18th. From 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. And Diana, you just mentioned a new workshop this year. It's one that's happening twice on that Saturday, once in the morning from 9 to 11:30 or so, and then again after lunch. So it sounds like folks can sign up for one or the other if they're interested in home fermentation.
Yes, that's exactly right. You have it exactly right.
Well, very cool. I know you mentioned a couple of other attractions, one in particular that might be very exciting for youth, although everyone might have a good time stopping by, and that's the petting zoo.
They're such a great family, too. They really love their animals, and they really like to talk to the people. So it's a really fun stop.
Nice. Yeah, petting zoo is a good way to lift the spirits coming out of winter, embrace spring, and just kind of enjoy some adorable animals that always have personality and can make the whole family smile, but also can be an educational opportunity for kids and young people to just see those animals up close and see how they move and how they interact. It's very interesting.
And we're going to have something this year we haven't had before, which is live music.
Oh, all right. Tell me about that.
Man, oh man. Yeah, so Candace and the Mad Dogs. They're a local group that
Yes.
perform at different functions, and they are going to be at our Garden Expo.
Nice. That's cool. How did that come together this year?
I'm not even really sure. I
Hmm.
think every year, we feel like we have a really good event, good traction. It's stable, it's recognizable, people are aware of it, they know what it is. But every year we'd like, what else could we maybe do? And sometimes we come up with something and sometimes we don't. But yeah, this year we thought, I wonder if we could get some live music. And who could that be? And that sparked something, and somebody knew somebody, and now we have Candace and the Mad Dogs.
Yeah, very cool. I'm looking forward to perusing around the trade show while listening to some live music in the background. That sounds like a good time for a Saturday morning.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, one more time, if you're just joining us now, this is Austin Beck-Doss here with Diana Olson of the Popo Agie Conservation District. We're talking about the upcoming Garden Expo on Saturday, April 18th from 9 to 3 at Lander Valley High School. The Garden Expo, once again, is brought to you by the Popo Agie Conservation District in partnership with the University of Wyoming Extension. And Diana, would you tell us a little bit about how that partnership works in relation to this event?
Well, back in the day, we were leaning pretty heavy on extension educators for our workshops. It isn't quite so much that
Hmm.
now. We still use a lot of extension educators, but that's definitely how it started, or how we wanted to bring this event and we wanted to do education. And man, we've got a great pool of educators because we have an office right here in Lander of our UW Extension Fremont County folks and all that sort of thing. So that's how it started.
Nice. And I know there are several sponsors already attached and committed to helping out with the event this year, but it sounds like the Garden Expo is still seeking some sponsors. So if folks are interested in helping out and participating in that way, what should they do? Who should they call?
Right. On our website, saposia.org, you can get to the Garden Expo page, and then there's different buttons you can click, and one of them says sponsors. So that would reveal what the different levels of sponsorship are and what the benefits are to each level. One of our generous sponsors is LORE, the LORE Foundation,
Nice.
and they are leaving Lander this year. I don't know if you're aware of that,
I am,
but
yeah.
they have been here for 6 years, and this is their last year. And because they're such a generous sponsor, we're definitely going to be wanting to, hopefully bring in some new sponsors and fill that gap kind of thing. So
Mhm.
it's, I don't know, it's a little bit late to get in on this year's Garden Expo, but boy, oh boy, would I ever want to put the word out there that the whole reason that we even invented sponsorship was because people would come along and they would say, I want to be a part of this event. Can I have a booth?
Sure.
And it was like, well, are you going to talk about gardening or backyard living or outdoor recreation? And they're like, well, I sell insurance. Like, would you like to be a sponsor?
Right.
We're pretty picky and trying to keep the event pure to those three themes, and we don't kind of just let any vendor come along that wants a booth. He has to fit the event. So,
For sure.
you know, banks and car dealerships and things, who knows, physical therapy outfits, whatever. If you don't qualify to be a vendor, but you want to be involved,
Hmm.
sponsorship is the answer.
Yeah, excellent. And as for the vendors in the trade show this year, are there any of those that you'd like to highlight or shout out? I know there's everything from free advice on gardening and backyard living, and all the way up to kind of
Mm-hmm.
products and items and things related to gardening, backyard living, and outdoor recreation that will be actually for sale on the day.
Hmm. Well, one thing of interest to me, it just kind of always blows my mind, is how many first-time vendors we have in a given year.
Hmm.
This year we have 16 signed up.
Wow.
That are going to be the first time. One is that just is, I'm looking at my list, is Busy Mother. And she will be offering specialty gluten-free baked goods.
All right.
We have a new vendor called Forever Pantry, and she will be offering freeze-dried pet foods. And what else do we got here? We have a new vendor. They spell their company name really oddly, but when you sound it out, it is Garden of Eden.
Okay.
And they're doing soups and snacks, spices and sweets, but it's not everything. Most things are from their garden.
Perfect.
Let's see, what else? Oh, here's one. The Teton Bear products will be featuring bear-proof tumbler composters.
Oh, wow. That's handy.
And I think that is way cool.
Yeah.
Some people have more of a problem with bears than others, but if you want to compost, you can imagine the attractant that could be.
Totally. I know. I'm sure there are some folks who live in bear country and have a recurring challenge with that will be likely customers of that booth.
Yep. Another one that's just hitting me right now is there is a gal, I wish I could remember her name. I might have to think about it and tack it on, but she's going to be from UW Extension, and she is going to talk about drought and resiliency and resources. And I don't know anybody that's not thinking about that right now.
Yep.
So that's going to be a really great vendor booth to stop by and just, man, visit with her and get some ideas of what possibly, because it's always like, well, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Because there's no water.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's things a seller can do.
Right. I know. I think gardeners and folks who tend to a yard are thinking a lot about that right now ahead of a summer season and some very dry conditions. And I did want to kind of wrap up on that point, Diana. I know the Garden Expo is about much more than just gardening.
Yeah.
Yes, it's also
much more.
Yes, it's about increasing enjoyment of your backyard, improving your outdoor experiences both in your yards and beyond too.
Yep. I would say in closing that Popoagie.org is a great place to go. Find that Garden Expo page, and that will answer a lot of questions. That would also get you to our phone number, which is area code 307-332-3114.
All right, excellent. Thank you for sharing that. And I did want to cover the essential details one more time for folks who may be just now joining. The Garden Expo this year is coming up on Saturday, April 18th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Lander Valley High School. The event, of course, is free. There will be workshops, a trade show, a petting zoo, concessions, a keynote speech called What's Wrong with My Plant? That's about diagnosing issues you may be having with whatever plants that you take care of. There is even an introduction to home fermentation this year. That is one that folks would need to RSVP on the Garden Expo webpage, and it does require a $25 fee. But that and so much more coming up this year's Garden Expo on the 18th.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Today's show is brought to you by Porter's Mountain View Supply. If grilling is part of your lifestyle, Porter's Mountain View Supply in Riverton has everything you need to do it right. Porter's carries quality grills built for flavor, performance, and durability. Whether you're cooking for a crowd or just firing it up on a weeknight, their team can help you find the grill that fits how you cook and how often you use it. They also stock a full lineup of grilling accessories, including pellets, charcoal, seasonings, tools, thermometers, covers, and cleaning supplies. From low and slow smoking to quick and easy backyard meals, Porter's has the products that help you get better results every time. You'll find Porter's Mountain View Supply at 750 East Sunset Drive in Riverton, or give them a call at 307-856-6066.